everyone. Welcome to this new episode of our Student Spotlight series, where we are able to showcase some of the work our students have done. I'm Charlotte, one of the outreach coordinators here at CCIR, and it's our pleasure to have Winnie with us today, who did our one-on-one mentorship. So firstly, can you just introduce yourself? So tell us where you're from, what year you are in school, and then what your academic interests are.
Hi, my name is Winnie, and I'm a student, a grade top student from Canadian International School in Beijing. And I'm currently thinking about going to the field of biology for my major in undergrad.
Great. And then can you talk us through what your course was about? So it was the one-on-one program, so it was completely designed around your specific research interests. So can you give us an overview of what you looked into, and then if you remember your mentor as well?
So I worked with Dr. Roger from the University of Cambridge for this program. And then we originally dived into stem cells. And then I later discovered CAR T cell therapy. And then this whole focus was on my interest in blood diseases. So I dived into CAR T cells and how it acts as an immunotherapy to treat as a potential treatment for blood diseases nowadays. And then I looked into the different type of blood diseases it treats, and then its kind of limitations and advances.
Interesting. And what made you seek out this topic?
So before I joined the CCIR program, I was in touch with a lot of children with blood diseases, and that really started make me wonder about the mechanism of blood diseases and if there's like a possible effective treatment for to treat them. So when I joined CCIR, I brought this up to my mentor, saying I was really interested about finding out effective treatments for blood diseases, and then I got to learn about CAR T cell therapy, and I thought it was really interesting. So I decided to dive deeper throughout this program.
Nice. And that's nice that you're able to really hone in on your specific research interest. Obviously, CAR T cell therapy is quite a niche interest. So it's nice that you were able to specifically look into that with your mentor in the one-on-one mentorship. Um,
Mhm.
Great. So now we're going to shift into discussing your research project. So firstly, can you just give us maybe the title of your paper and then a quick synopsis of what you looked into?
So the title of my paper is Major Advances and Limitations in CAR T cell therapy. So in this research paper, I did an overview of the CAR T cell therapy, what it's about, and the mechanism of it. I also talked about how it started from the first generation and to now really advanced fifth generation. But besides that, I also focused on how it's derived from different sources, and then its two major risks, such as the GVHD, the graft versus host disease, and the immune rejection. And that also focused on potential uh, 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 modifications that can be done to improve the efficiency, such as safety switches like IC9 or HSV-TK. These really help eliminate like possible risks like the rejections mentioned earlier, and then also cytokine release syndrome and the manufacturing of CAR T cells and how they impact the final product and its efficiencies.
Interesting. And then were you doing a literature review, a systemic review? What was your research methods?
Yeah, I did a literature review.
Okay. And what was your process of finding that data and synthesizing it? Had you done something like this before?
So I've never really gotten to write a literature review before, so it's my first time. And then from the start of the course, Dr. Roger, my mentor, sent me a lot of articles and literature reviews. So I have to go through almost all of them, and then I read them word by word, and then I found out about these data, and then I really dive deep into CAR T cells and their mechanisms, and then also other parts of it, such as risks and advances.
Okay, interesting. And then can you just walk us through what you think what you think the importance of your findings are to the field or the general public?
So I think my research paper has done a really thorough review of the most current CAR T cell therapies like on the market and how they impacts people, and then how each of its manufacturing steps, such as like choosing the T cells and how its risks can be counteracted through many ways, and then these all gives like insightful ideas to how CAR T cells can be implemented to people with blood diseases.
Right. And then my last question about your research paper, have you started the publication process at all yet, and what has that been like for you?
Yes, so I'm currently planning to submit my research paper to a journal and to conferences, and then each of the journals and conferences have their each own unique submission styles. So like each citation, they either submit by the abstract or like the whole paper, and they each have their unique formats. So for each submission, I'll have to format my research paper differently for each submission. Yeah.
And were you using our research team to help you with this process, or just your mentor for
Oh
guidance?
yes, yeah, yes, definitely with the research team and from CCIR. They provided me a lot of like possible journals and conferences that I can submit to. They also provided me a lot of help during my whole research process. I also asked them for feedback and how I could format my essays differently for each of the submissions I turn in.
Great. So now we're going to shift to discussing just your general experience with CCIR. So firstly, can you tell us what your experience was like in the program doing a high-level research project like this as a high school student?
So as a high school student, CCIR's program is definitely really challenging. And then I got to experience things that I never did before, such as like reading through all the literature reviews, having a really insightful guide through this really um, deep area in biology. So uh, yeah, it was really challenging, but also I learned a lot from this process. I got to learn about my interest area, the blood diseases, and then I also wrote a paper, and I really feel accomplished through this program.
Great. And then what was the research process in this experience like compared to other papers or projects that you've done in other classes before?
So compared to other classes, I've had to read more literature reviews and articles for this because it's a whole literature research based on past papers. So it might differ from my other essays that I've done in school, such as where I um learned into something that was already discovered, and then it was not so in depth. It's just about like basic theories in biology or chemistry. But for the CCIR program, I have to design a whole research paper with abstract introduction and evaluation conclusions. It's more about like building on top of what other articles on CAR T cells have done.
And then, as we discussed before, the course that you did was a very niche topic. What was it like being able to access a mentor that has expertise in this area, compared to high school or even many undergraduate courses that are much more broad, like Biology 101, for example? You were really able to delve into this very niche topic. What was that like for you?
So diving into this niche topic with Dr. Roger, who's really an expert in this area, I felt like I learned a lot through this process. And I also learned something related to this area that I wasn't able to learn this in school, such as like stem cells and the different effects or risks that could cause in the human body by CAR T cells. And then this wasn't really touched in school, and I really feel happy that I could learn this at a high school level.
Great. And then just a few more questions for you. The first one, do you think that this course has given you any insights into your future? Has it maybe informed or shaped how you think of your path moving forward at all?
So before joining CCIR, I've always been really interested in research. And after completing the CCIR program, it definitely made me more determined to continue my path on research and then in biology and even more specifically in blood diseases or CAR T cell therapy. So yeah, it's gonna make me continue my path in biology in undergrad or maybe graduate years.
Great. That's great that it was able to kind of solidify that this is the path that you want to go down. And then my last question for you, what would you say to someone who asked you what the value of doing a project or a program like this is, especially for a high school student?
For me personally, I learned a lot about my interest area, the blood diseases. And then I would really encourage a lot of people to to join this program to learn about their interest area even more in depth beyond what is being taught in high school. And this really provide me of an insight to what I can go to in my undergrad years, such as doing more research with professors who are having a more direct goal of diving into and researching into CAR T cells. Yeah.
I think that's great advice. So that comes to the end of our interview. Thank you so much for chatting to me, and congratulations again on your nomination to our Spotlight series.
Thank you.